Welcome to the Social for Brokers podcast. Today, I have with me Adele Forbes, the director and owner of West Yorkshire Money. So Adele has been in the mortgage world since 1998, and she's seen every single mortgage market there is, from the highs of 2006-7 to the lows of 2008, 2010, and then back to the highs over the last 2 years. So I wanted to get Adele on to talk about social media, but also to impart wisdom that she's definitely got over these different times, the low periods, the high periods, and some advice to people that have maybe just got into the industry that it's all going to be okay, just carry on. But we'll get into that as we go along. Adele is also an avid Twitter fan, and she posts on Twitter about the business and had a recent post that reached 24,000 people and got asked to feature on, I think it was a radio station, we'll get into it as well, but has done press releases as well off the back of her content. So without further ado, welcome to the podcast, Adele.
Hi, Chris, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for coming on. I know you're a bit busy at the minute, aren't you? You've had days off here and there and not feeling too good.
Yeah, life's a bit busy at the moment, and I'm full of cold, so I'm a bit huskier than normal.
Well, we can all hear that.
So some people recognise me voice regardless of what I do when they pick up the phone to me. So I suppose it's a good thing.
But memorable. Yeah, memorable. We was talking before the podcast. So your husband's Scottish. You grew up in North Wales and
Wales. I can speak Welsh.
Now, obviously, you're West Yorkshire. Do you speak fluent?
Yes, I'm in West Yorkshire. So yes, I've been around the block a bit. I'm Irish as well. So yeah, so I could support all nations, which is quite good.
You ever had a Welsh client call up and speak fluent Welsh to him?
No, I do a lot of Welsh mortgages in Wales. So obviously there's a few different issues over the stamp duty, isn't there? So
yeah, different changes and stuff. Yeah, but anyway, before we get into what you're doing at the minute, tell us where you're from, what you've done, and how you've got to this position at the minute.
So 1998, I started in the industry on the phones at the mortgage business, which is a mortgage lender. Worked my way up. It took me a couple of years to get a mortgage an underwriting mandate, which allows you to authorise mortgages up to £1 million or whatever your mandate level is.
Right.
Then went to work for a subprime lender in 2004, 2006. Headhunted to assist the startup of a mortgage lender, which was DB Mortgages. Mm-hmm. Had a brief stint out of the market, which was for 12 months when the crash happened. For 12 months, so I went to work as a BDM in invoice finance, which is a hard game in itself.
What's invoice finance? When it's
so invoice finance, security is the invoice, so they lend on the back of an invoice and raise cash up front before the invoice is paid. So it's detailed as invoice factory, invoice discounting or factory. Right. So you go into a variety of businesses, and they could be a haulage company to a printing firm, and so you see a lot of fraud, and you need to be able to read accounts and things like that. Very interesting. Don't get me wrong. I suppose my passion was always mortgage, or I found I excelled in that area. So went back to it as a arrears counsellor. Did that for 2 or 3 years because nobody was lending the front end with obviously the credit crunch. So you helped people get into arrangements and visit their homes, went door knocking. I was quite good at
Did you?
back into their I suppose their strategy of paying their mortgage. Busy burying their heads in the sand. People don't want to admit that they're struggling with their payments and things like that. So I've seen that side of things as well, which helps you understand and read people and things like that and situations. So I think overall I've seen probably quite a few avenues along the way. Went back to underwriting in 2011 to 2013 for a well-known Yorkshire Building Society for a couple of years, and then decided I want to be a mortgage broker. So passed my CMAP, the 1, 2, and 3. That was in 2013, and then I thought, just because I know obviously the underwriting side, which obviously helps me do the job that I do today, and like a lot of people have got similar backgrounds to myself, I felt I didn't really know how to generate leads, because that's the hard part, isn't it? Generating leads. So I went to work for MAB. I realised that I wasn't a telephone advisor, knowing, being new into the industry from that point. So I decided quickly I was more a face-to-face advisor because I'm very direct. Clients in Yorkshire particularly like, to be direct. They see confidence in that. So then I went to work for 5 estate agents for MAB, learned kind of how to generate leads and things like that, and then went out in the big bad world. I think it was about 6 years ago today, which was directly authorised for a firm in Liverpool that I used to underwrite for, believe it or not. So
Full circle.
then I had to generate my own leads. So
was that tough at the beginning?
I had at MAB, MAB did build you, and give you excellent training, and the compliance behind that was brilliant. So, I think that's where you learn your skills, isn't it?
Yeah.
You have to be able to do what you want to do.
Why did you decide to go on your own then after? Because you've obviously had years of experience in loads of different areas. You could have easily just stayed at MAB, couldn't you, and carried on?
Yeah. So, if you're looking after, it was hard gig because I was going from one estate agent to another, and looking after 5 of them is pretty tough. Like that wasn't for me at the time, and I think you just need to move upwards really.
Yeah.
So I saw the differences between, being under a network, and I think that helps you in the early stages, but obviously being directly authorised and not being governed by shackles over, loaded premiums and things like that, and compliance a little bit. You can do that, and obviously the lead generation.
That's it. You've got to learn. I speak to a lot of people that get into becoming a mortgage broker, do the SEMA. Yep, I know how to be a mortgage broker now, and then go, where does the business come from? That's something that isn't taught in there, is it?
No, it's not. There's certain things that are not taught at CMAP school and things like that, such as protection, how to sell it, what it is. And I think a lot, this day and age, I think there's still a lot of brokers are still scared of that. They think the mortgage is the, it's the lead source, isn't it? It's the way in. I see it as the way into, I suppose more commission and things like that. The protection makes you the money. It's not the mortgage. The mortgage you do the running around for, don't you?
Yeah, the mortgage is the tough bit, and then the life insurance. It's almost you've got to, and this is probably where you would do a lot of life insurance off the back. Is they'll buy into you, and then it's just a very easy conversation.
Yes, you're being direct.
Yeah,
you do need to be a green reaper at that time. Kind of sell it for what it does, not your free coffees, your Starbucks, your free cinema tickets, or whatever. Literally, this is what happens if you don't have that. I'm drip feeding that from an early stage, really, not just an offer. I try to do the full application. I speak about it on the face-to-face call, or the Zoom call, or whatever you want to do. But I drip feed it in, so they're expecting it.
Okay,
right. Build it down. Don't be scared to have those sensitive conversations, because you need to have them.
And that, I suppose, over time you become more confident with that, don't you? It must be hard as a broker.
Yes.
Straight out of the States.
Yeah. So I mean, the other thing is, when I was working for another firm before I set up this, I was probably paying away a bit more commission. A lot was telephone based. I was working in an office at my home. I had clients dropping off all sorts at the front door. And it's difficult to have, unless you've got an office, it's difficult to have those conversations, because they're not interested in life insurance. You've got to build it in why they need it.
Yeah.
So I'm just interested in the mortgage. If you don't do it, pretend they've got the mortgage offer, they'll ghost you.
You've never heard from them again. Yeah,
they can ghost you, bless them. But they're not going to want to pay it. So it is what it is.
So you went from there and set up on your own. So you got West Yorkshire Money now, and you've actually got an office, haven't you? And this
So this is the client office. The clients just come into this office, so it's always clean and tidy. There's no people coming in and out, and it's purely geared up, with certain things, certain pictures on in here for clients face to face.
Do you get much business people walking past you?
No, not really. They will look on Google and things like that, and they'll search Google. I mean, I know we've done a post before about, I've got about 13,000 followers. That's taken 6 years to get that. And I do get a lot of recommendations. I don't pay introducers for business as such.
And this is where it's really interesting, because you take on board a lot of stuff that we talk about. And even before we started working together, you knew it was a long game. Yeah. So we were talking before we came on the call, you were talking about COVID. And when COVID hit, you had a bit of a shift, didn't you, from Google ads into social. Can you explain why you did that?
So first, before And I did a press release, and I think it was in strategy. I did a press release because obviously, being part of the money group, they do, give you support to do certain things, which is brilliant. I did see a bit of a shift where other brokers who didn't like Facebook, who didn't get the leads from the business, of social media, will just throw money at SEO and Google Ads and things like that. So you saw that shift, and I was getting, decent amount of leads via the website. However, that shift, I have to throw more money at it, and I know Google,
everyone was doing
things, haven't they? But I don't really want to spend £1,000 just on Google SEO.
Yeah.
So when everyone else is doing it in the region, the big boys like the bigger networks, have that arena where you're about 25 pages down. It's kind of not worth it. Where I feel paying someone like yourself, Chris, I'm being a bit quirky, a bit unconventional. I'm a bit tongue in cheek. I see first time buyers, so I don't like jargon. They buy into me because I'll say it as it is, and that's what wins me business, because that's the market I'm in.
And we're talking about this a lot over the next few months. It is going to be quiet. November, December. It's always a quiet time of year, and there's so much scaremongering in the news. So you can talk about business to an extent, but
you can ask for business, but without asking for business, but in a certain way. So during COVID, I think, put my typical underwriting head on and kind of went, right, where's the business going to, who's vulnerable, like your hospitality. And I've done it again since, when the government did that little bit of a massive mistake the other week. I kind of went, who's vulnerable, and, where are we with those clients with their completions? That's how I'm built, I'm built as an underwriter.
Sorry, just before we get into that, so you then think, right, which cases have we got to focus on, because these are going to be the people that are worrying, is that, and then you'll go
the vulnerable people as well, so is their income going to be shot? Do we need to have that conversation, how they're going to be affected by whatever happens, bills especially?
So you're not only your content for social media, but from a business point of view, you've got your business head going, who's going to be vulnerable, who's going to be affected most, and how can we help them?
How many calls am I going to get from these X, Y, and Z? Because I'm going to get that. So do I need to pick up the phone and speak to them before they come to me? Just to ease them more, and you do get the calls, whenever everyone does a bank-based rate. Well, with the socials, I don't believe we all do it. We all get 20 million emails from a lender going, well, put the base rate up, put the base rate. We know.
Yeah. But what does it mean for your client, and who's going to be vulnerable? That's where you
have those conversations, and it just looks good when you've actually phoned them up rather than them. You having 20 calls to call. You just know who's going to phone you first, and usually on a first name basis with them. They become friends of yours, to be fair, which is good because they know they can just come and ask you.
Yeah,
because you're going to get a lot of emails like that.
Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to explore that because it's really interesting that you kind of switch into, right, how can I help people? Which you do every day, but when something big happens, you do that. So
you try and help people, don't you? Because it's anxiety as well. We've had COVID. I don't think anyone's over COVID, are they? So I'm more anxious than I was
before.
Pre-COVID. So during COVID, I kind of said, rather than we were applauding NHS, so I kind of did a raffle, spent 30 quid on a local hamper, either meat or veg hamper from a local business to support local, and then I kind of did on some of the community page, like Facebook community, like Pontefract, like up to my areas. Right, do you want to vote for who should get this? Who's say a key worker? So in a co-op, who can vote for who's worked round the clock trying to assist people, people have been there, and everyone voted for people, and it cost me 30 quid, in different regions. I think it cost me, 150 quid or whatever. But what that did for the business, again, asking for business not directly. I've done skydive when we could get just for a day out, to be fair. Don't even like heights. Again, that was to raise, I think 2,500, something like that. So there's different things you can do. And then I miss networking and things like that. So I did grow the business from being I am not scared to knockers. Most people know me, but I'm quite opinionated. So, but I will go and make sure that a new business, I'll send them some flowers or send them, the pads and the cups we've got, and then kind of promote them, saying good luck on the business page that I've got, which obviously adds on. These people can get on board
and this is where we started this conversation about social, but what you've just spoken about for the last 10 minutes is right. Your social sorted, that your social page, if you put a post out, you're going to get business. That's how strong your brand is. But what you do, which is really interesting, is you do a lot of local stuff that isn't on social. So like you said there, if you didn't hear what Adele said, sends a hamper to a local business that's just opened its doors saying we're here. We're here to help. It's just like welcome, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I remember you did something with a local radio channel, didn't you? And I thought this was incredible. I thought this was a great.
So I listened to 5 o'clock Bush and Richie, Absolute Radio. I'm a 70s baby, so I like 90s music. 90s was obviously 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Of course, that's when mine built like everyone from my generation. So I thought, right, I'm going to get my name and business name mentioned on Absolute Radio at 5 o'clock. He actually mentioned it on the podcast. He told us, but I sent them Pontefract cakes, which is licorice kind of delicacy biscuit cake thing. Horrible licorice.
They look disgusting, but that's a Google.
And they literally recorded this podcast with them chewing it and mentioning our name. I just thought, and it was actually, Haribo is the hometown of Pontefract. Haribo is their place. Yeah, so it was quite nice, and it was just the week of Licorice Week, which they have like a festival here in Pontefract.
That's all. So you
kind of the case, but I put a bit of thought into it, and it was a shout out, and then it was all over Twitter, so. And
you put.
I don't think you'll ever forget me, obviously. And
exactly.
It was really nice to record it and go on. It's this show, and
It was nice to shout about it.
Social on it, didn't we?
Yeah, we did some social. So you sent a box in with the mugs and Pontefract cake and stuff.
Yeah, and a pad and everything else. And they're chewing it, on radio, and you're listening to it. It's quite bizarre, isn't it? So I'm quite proud of that.
But this is where
that's where you door knock. Yeah, that's where you door knock.
Exactly. You see opportunities like that and say, right, I'm going to be on Absolute Radio. It's not as if you're just on a little.
I see it as a challenge, because I like to go and see a new business and see if I can name drop that I own a business in Pontefract, West Yorkshire Money.
Yeah.
And then you say you're a mortgage advisor, and everyone will know. They'll ask you about the mortgage. It's like the doctor, isn't it? I've just got this bad knee. I've just got this on landed there.
Always looking for the answer.
That's quite nice that you recognise like that.
You try and explore different avenues, and that's where I wanted to speak to you in regards to Twitter. So you had a post that was, and this is where I want to get across that doesn't always have to be business content, does it? Talk about this Twitter post that you had.
So the Twitter post just before, I think the realisation that, the buy-to-let, I think TMW put their buy-to-let rate, stress rate up to 8.49. And I actually spelled it out in words what that meant, but about a day before, but during that time, something came up on my time hop that I'd used it before. And it's a T-shirt saying, I don't know whether you've got the post, a T-shirt saying that mortgage brokers, is running, basically on fire on a bike, running through hell, something on those lines.
Yeah.
And it got like 24,000 views. On the back of it, I did 2 press releases. Journalists will openly come to me if they want any view on something, which was quite nice. That's great to promote your business.
Mm-hmm.
And you get things on the back of that, don't you? So it's opportunities, and it's quite nice. I've never seen so many mortgage brokers being in the press.
And there's two
my friends, friends on Twitter. And it's money from Twitter. So as much as you don't get any business from Twitter direct, sometimes
mm-hmm.
It's about your engagement, your drip feeding the brand out there, isn't it?
And this is the guest that we had on beforehand. He goes, Lewis from Shore Financial. He goes.
Yes, I know Lewis. Yes,
so he goes and sources these PR and goes and puts his name out there. But what's happened with you is you've done it organically, and two people have come to you to release an article.
Yeah.
And I think the reason that you got that is because that post, a lot of mortgage advisors would have been hesitant to upload that, to say that it is a bit of a.
And sometimes you do go. But shall I accept that? Shall I,
You think that, but then it resonates with so many people because you said the thing that's on so many people's lips, but they're a bit more scared to say it.
Yeah. And sometimes I had to break it down into money. This is what it means in money terms. On the back of that post, I mean, I got my buy to let up for sale because I've had to, I couldn't churn it or I couldn't refinance it, let's say. Impossible for me to do that.
And that's you being honest with your audience, isn't it? So what would you say to a mortgage advisor that maybe started out last year and they've just seen inquiries, they haven't got a back book because none of their 2, 3 year, 5 year fixed rates coming back? What would you say to them about the market at the minute? How do they need to react to this market to get the best out of it?
So I would join a BNI as much as, BNI is great for when you're starting out. I'll tell you, the BNIs you'll go to different groups. You look for the BNI that's possibly, it depends which kind of crowd or your niche. I went down the first time buyer route and friends of friends and remortgages and things like that. So I looked for a group, and what worked for me, because I've been in 2, what worked for me was the ones with the businesses that got customers rather than business to business or business to customer, not business to business. If I want a load of business, I'll go on LinkedIn from commercial brokers or things like that. Do you see what I mean? So,
right, so people
they are effectively in that BNI group, your sales team.
Yeah, you get them to push out, and I think it's more like what you've done on social. I've seen, and you probably do it in your business as well, is just be yourself. That's a big thing as well, isn't it? And that's why people buy into you, don't they? So the humor.
Well, from after COVID, I probably haven't worn anything really formal. I'm smart casual, but my clients are smart casual. I used to work in bars. I think I used to put them off, but I used to shake the hand.
Really?
So I didn't shake the hand. But, and everyone's still a bit funny whether they shake the hands or not at the moment. So
COVID
kind of. You go to your clients, and if you spent over COVID, you spent more time with them on the phone because they're glad to hear of you. So you build those relationships. I make them laugh, and if you make them laugh, they trust you, so
pretty much in. So when it comes to social media, where do your content ideas come from? Where do you think, because you message me a lot of the time and go, Chris, we want to post
and you haven't even got there yet. You have to go store this one up. So at the moment, I'll probably not. I noticed every broker is doing things like life insurance. I've done a bit of it myself, so there's no right and wrongs what you should do. However, I think, like you've said before, and some of yours, do a bit personal. Everyone needs a bit of cheering up at the moment. Everyone's waiting for obviously Thursday. So I do think it will be a bit quiet. Hopefully it will come back. We still need to be doing remortgage and things like that, but I think people are just licking their wounds a bit over money and everything else. So let's just be there when they finally do come along.
Just keep you at the forefront of their mind. And
also, register your business via Google.
Okay,
And I register all my content. I do it on TikTok, four pages, Twitter, and I register the content. And they'll look at. Sometimes they will either go to Facebook to Google mortgage advisor. I'll come up just because I'm always on there. And Google will say it actually it's costing nothing.
And you're consistent with it, because we will upload your posts to Facebook and Instagram, but then what you do is you then go and push them out. You go and take them to loads of other channels as well. That takes time. Do you know what I mean? That it might only take 15 minutes in the morning, but it takes time. But you're investing in that, aren't you?
Yeah, and I make sure I do it. So I do it every couple of days. Sorry, but then in the meantime, I'll do some testimonials. If you do anything good, get behind awards. Voucher is brilliant. To get your customer reviews up there, whether you use Trustpilot, get it out there. You have to do a bit of chest banging a little bit, to be fair. Because nobody knows how good you are unless you tell them.
Exactly. Nobody's going to do it for you, unfortunately.
Exactly.
Yeah. You need to push yourself out there. So then, talking about Twitter, what do you use Twitter for personally with the business?
So Twitter, I've got a little Twitter family now. So that's only been probably in the last 6 months. Whereas, I don't get much business from LinkedIn, but I don't do it for that. It's support, I do it from page, but I don't go out there and say I want a load of commercial brokers or commercial finance or development finance. And that's just for, again, page recognition and stuff like that. But usually I don't get direct stuff from Facebook now. It's more, they go to Google, then they'll look at your website, they'll see my website's not too overly corporate, then they'll come to me and they'll read about any awards or anything like that I've got, so all that is as a presence.
What are your thoughts on, and the reason I ask this is because everybody thinks video is the answer at the moment, but you
do get more, there is statistics on that, isn't there? You do get more,
you get more
do like on social media videos before I use you guys.
But is there any reason that you don't do videos?
Well, I don't like myself, to be fair. I'll be critical of myself. I have thought about it. I was going to do a TikTok one. We have done a Haribo one, haven't we? Where we've had my child over speaking me, which was a bit of fun, very nerve-wracking putting something out there, which is outside the comfort zone. But it's probably comfort zone. But
what were the comments that you got back off that? Not just comments on the post, but friends talking about it.
I don't know. They didn't tell me.
Oh, didn't they?
I don't know. They just said it was good. And, they support you, whatever you do. And but I should do something. I should do some kind of
getting back at. No, it's just interesting to, sometimes it's people having time. Sometimes it is, you just don't like doing video. And that's, do you know what I mean? That's absolutely fine.
And I've stuck to that. You can do these TikTok things. It's amazing what you see on TikTok. I mean, now I just look at TikTok for food and old rave music, if I'm honest. There's corkers on there that you haven't heard. Or cooking, slow cooker. I'm obsessed with my slow cooker.
That's it. It's everything's about slow cooker. Would you agree with me saying Facebook is still number one in terms of social?
It is, to customer, yeah. Instagram, I've got a lot of investors that watch me quite a lot and would like to support. But it's usually it's the funny stuff that I do, the not so corporate to say it as it is and be a bit tongue-in-cheek with it. It's those.
Yeah, it's being yourself, and that's what resonates with people. And like we say, we're going to ramp that up.
Saying what someone else won't say.
Yeah, but you've got because you've seen the different markets and you've seen the way that people respond to you being a person. Do you know what I mean? You're very confident in saying the stuff that people are afraid to say. Somebody that's starting
got me in trouble many times, Chris.
Yeah, many times. I can imagine, Adele. I can imagine. Right. So before we get into the strategy question, we like to make a £10 donation to a charity of your choice. As a thank you for coming on. Which charity did you want to make it to, Adele?
The Kev Sinfield, is it Ultra 7?
Yeah, Ultra 7.
Rob Burrows, So I think I'd like to do that. So
we'll make that donation for you.
He's doing.
Right, so we're now going to pretend that you moved to the north of Scotland. You've got a laptop, a mobile phone, and an internet connection. What would you do to start generating business?
B&I.
Okay, yeah.
And door knocking. So if I've just moved there, you get in bed with the nail people, the hairdressing people, the people who see lots of, get your cars in doctor's surgeries. Go back to good old door knocking.
What would you do with door knocking? Go and see all the nail salon and people that speak to loads of people all day.
When I got my premises here, I made sure that they knew where I was. They'd shared and liked the page on social media. I'll buy your dress if you do that for me. They did it.
Oh, really?
I make sure they know who I am. And who the business is.
And this is, I was having a conversation.
Pontefract is, they're very community based. They give in.
Which is good.
Which is
good.
But
what a lot of people do is they set up their social media pages and think if I post, people are going to like the page. And it doesn't happen like that. You need to be talking to people about it, exactly what you do. You speak to people about your page and get them to follow you, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay, so you go to B&I and you'd be door knocking. You'd be speaking to everybody in the local area about your business, yeah?
Yes, yeah. You might want to go to local college. Education is key for people with finances. I think there's a massive gap in schools, isn't there? I think
there is a massive one. Yeah, there needs to be more mortgage brokers in schools.
Don't be scared to do something different for charity. Skydive, do a competition or do a giveaway to get over 100 likes. Whatever you need to do things like that. Charity work, as I said, door knocking, networking. There's lots of free, stuff around that you can just go there. You don't even have to sign up. Yeah. But the commitment's there. You go and being out is quite a big commitment. And then maybe change groups after 2 years.
And the interesting thing is, you've not mentioned anything about the laptop there. This is all stuff that anybody, do you know what I mean? But it's interesting. That's why I say to people, you've got all these tools you can use, but get your face out there, go and speak to people, get your name out there. That's obviously how you've won.
Once you build for reputation, people are referring to you, then you'll get your solicitors, your accountants. I mean, I did my own solicitors panel, when I left a big network. So I'd already done that by the time. So I knew they'd possibly give you a referral fee, but they'll give back into you. If you're giving them enough business, they'll give back into you.
Yeah.
And they trust you, so you build up that reputation, don't you?
Getting known locally, isn't it? That's your key there. That is your key.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, there's loads for people to go back through. If you wanted to go back through and listen to that and take loads of notes, I think your big thing is about being local. But what I really liked was try and think who's going to be the most vulnerable when there's a change in the market. Because every industry is going to be vulnerable at some point in time.
That's right. And, just because it's what those people, they'll remember you for helping them out. Being nice, being ethical, be ethical with your broker fees. If you've had to replace a case because something's gone wrong, you don't need to. Sometimes I'd be ethical. It's not all about fee. It's about how many people they will tell will never go away from you because you've been nice.
And you can tell that's your driving factor, because when you're picking up the phone to, for example, the nurses that you know of, you're not phoning them up to sell them a mortgage. You're phoning up and answering a question that you think they're going to call about in a few days. They might just signed into a 5-year fixed and they might be at a risk of redundancy. You pick up the phone to them and you chat to them and say, right, these are your options. You're never going to sell them another mortgage for 5 years, but you'll be the one remembered.
Yeah. Well, on the back of that, things come into play, don't they? So you try and help them, or somebody. They used to call me Google after I started being there, because everyone used to come to me because I just knew everybody.
Is that because you lived in the area so long, or is it because of those networking that you did?
The networking, networking. So I do support local charities and things like that, and try and go to the local network, even if I can't make it every month.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still there. I'm due to do some networking or something crazy for charity at some point, put myself off a cliff or something. I would like to do up a building, to be fair. I've just got this urgent thing to throw myself off something.
Abseiling, bit of abseiling.
Abseiling off a building,
Talking about socials, we haven't spoken about your Facebook group that you set up, talking about the networking. You've set up a local group.
So a lot of these community pages have, a lot of rules. And they would let you post in once a week and whatever. I mean, to be fair, I set up my own group, and it is financial services. However, there's a landscape gardener on there. I let him post, and there's a commercial broker. I let her post, because I just think let's support each other. Yeah,
and that's what you're big on.
Let's use the 13,000 followers that we've got to help you. Put on the table.
Be more local. I think that's the key, isn't it? Be more local.
Not one of these big corporates.
Also, Adele, thank you so much for coming. That's just been chatting for over half an hour now. It's absolutely flown by. Thank you so much for coming on. If people want to connect with you, where's the best place for them to get you?
So I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on everywhere.
LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
Well, happy to chat. Any brokers that want some, direct advice, I'm not sure. I'm quite happy to give you.
And when Adele says a direct advice, she'll tell you it straight. If you like your advice straight, she'll just come back to you and go, "No, that's crap. Do it this." not that. Do you know what I mean?
Not in a nasty way.
No. But Adele will be very much say, "Right, that's probably not the best way to do it. Have you tried this way?" And I know that because Adele and I speak on like every other week. So, guys, go and connect with Adele. Lovely person, and she's there to help.
Thanks very much.
Cheers. Thanks, Adele.
Cheers. Bye.